Mijenta is a tequila brand that has been making a lot of waves. I've actually talked a lot about them on my short form content, but I realized I never actually made a long form video. And in this video, I want to explore, is it worth the hype? And what is so special about this brand? Right, let's get right into it. Mijenta is a brand of tequila made at NOM 1499 with master distiller Ana Maria Romero Mena, one of the few female master distillers in the industry. And one of the things that really sets them apart is their focus on sustainability and the fact that they are a certified B corporation. And to be given the certified B corporation status, it's a very rigorous process that you have to be analyzed through pretty much everything that you do, and you have to meet higher accountability standards, sustainability. It's about, making a positive impact on your workforce and a positive impact on the environment. They are carbon neutral. All of their packaging elements are eco-friendly, and they even release a sustainability report every year. And you might be thinking, why does that matter? Well, I personally believe that if a product is good, that's great, but in my opinion, you should try to strive to do more. And I think that's what takes a brand or a product from good to excellent and amazing. That's not to say that what's in the bottle isn't good, because spoiler alert, I really like it. And what I also love is that the two main expressions, the Blanco and the Repo, super accessible. You can find the bottle of Blanco anywhere between like 35 and 45. The Repo is a little bit more like 55 to 65, but I think they're very accessible and very tasty. But all right, Louis, that's a great little story. You give us a little bit of information, but what about what's in the bottle? Well, first off, Mijenta makes a Blanco. They make their traditional regular reposado. They also have their Gran Reserva Añejo, which is a very special añejo, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And then recently, they actually have two very special releases that I've gotten my hands on. So number one is their Maestra Selección Número Uno, and this is a really special bottle that I want to talk about because I think that they're doing something that no other tequila brand is doing with this. And this is their high proof Blanco, the first one that they make. And then they also have a high proof reposado. This is their Symphony Series number 2. Also, it's got some really interesting stuff going on with this, but we'll save that for a little bit later. First up, the Blanco. And you'll also notice this, by the way, which is a really fascinating thing, is that on this bottle, you have a bunch of these little stickers that they were forced to put over a lot of things. Like this says it's certified additive free and that it's carbon neutral. That is because the CRT has been cracking down on every tequila brand to remove any kind of labeling of this. So on this bottle of Mijenta, you have a bunch of these labels that are hidden. I know I'm not really supposed to be showing this because they hid it for a reason, but I think it's important to talk about, truthfully, because I think that it's a symptom of a larger problem, and it showcases just the impact that the CRT is having on these brands. Especially when it has stuff to do with like the B Corporation carbon neutral. It has nothing to do with additives, but they're still cracking down on it, which is dumb. Anyway. Some people hate the glass toppers. I think they're kind of nice. So on the nose, you get that first hint of what, in my opinion, makes Mijenta so unique and special. They have a very rich kind of floral and citrusy flavor. It's light, it's a little delicate, still got great agave flavor, but the florality is something that is, to me, very iconic of what Mijenta is doing. It's a very unique flavor. You also get these notes of black pepper, and that citrus and florality is really nice, and it really works beautifully in a cocktail, but also to sip on its own, it is excellent. And now on to their regular reposado. Let's pour some out there into Doug's glass. It's my glass, but Doug gave it to me for the Agave Social Club podcast and club. Really nice glass. If you haven't checked out his stuff, I love Doug. He's great. Check out his stuff. If you like my content, I'm sure you'll love his. And you can get one of these cool glasses. Shameless plug, not sponsored by Doug, but go help him out. Go support him. On the nose, lots of that oak, vanilla. You still get some of that citrusy kind of floral elements a little bit on the nose. But then on the palate, it's very rich on that oaky, caramelly, vanilla side, but the florality and the citrus really does come through. I think that these two expressions are very different, and so they actually are beautiful to use in cocktails. Bright, citrus, floral, Blanco tequila, really nice, agave forward. This still has a lot of those elements, but that reposado flavor really makes it mesh with some flavors that work better with aged spirits. Both of these are incredible for cocktails. I really do enjoy these two. But now we're gonna move on to their special edition releases, which I think are where this brand goes from here all the way up to here in my opinion. So the first special edition release is their Gran Reserva Añejo. It's a limited release of their only añejo that they make, and this is aged in a mixture of, I believe, 4 different barrels. You have French oak, American oak, acacia, and also cherry wood barrels. They age them in all of those 4 and then blend them together for a really unique añejo. It is also a glass topper, and I think that just the bottle is absolutely beautiful. Pour some out. Not as dark as you'd imagine, but definitely got some good color. On the nose it's a very prominent kind of cherry, almost bourbon-like aroma, if you will. Some good oak and vanilla and caramel. And a little hint of cherry, actually, like a little bit of fruit. And that oak, caramel, vanilla really warms you up. You get some of those fruity flavors in there. Like cherry flavor is very prominent in that there's like some baking spice. Speaking is hard. And that florality is, while more subdued than in the regular expressions, it's still present, but the mixture of those barrels is just really nice and creates a very fun, incredible flavor in this one. And now for where it starts to get really fucking crazy. This right here is the Maestra Selección Número Uno. This is the first like super limited edition release that they did, even more so than the Gran Reserva Añejo. There's only a limited number of these bottles. And what makes this wholly unique, outside of the fact that it is their first high proof Blanco, is that most agave plants, they're actually just clones of other agave plants. They're not from seeds. Usually when an agave plant sprouts up, they have something called the hijuelo. It's like a little, like a little clone plant, and you can take that, plant it, and it grows another agave. Those agave are all genetically identical, basically. But this right here, the Maestra Selección, is actually one of, if I'm not mistaken, the only product on the market that is made from only agave that comes from seeds. So when an agave is ripe and ready to be harvested, it'll grow what's called a quiote, which is like, it flowers. So it basically like this like stalk kind of thing grows out of the agave. And then at the top there are seeds, and those are agave seeds. But usually agave farmers don't let that grow because it sucks all of the sugar out of the heart of the agave, or the piña. And so when, basically what happens is when they see a quiote grow, they know that, oh, that region is ready to be harvested. And they'll go in there and check the Brix levels or the sugar level of all those agave. And if one flowers, they know that the rest is probably ready to go because they all plant them at a similar time. But for this one, it's a really incredible experiment where they basically only grew agave out of seeds from quiotes that had already flowered, which is very fascinating. But all right, Louis, cool fucking story, dude. But what about what it actually tastes like? Well, let's get right into it. Also, you'll notice that the corks here are not glass. These are recycled sugarcane fiber corks, which I think is a good move too, because a lot of people complain about their glass corks. Even though I do like them, I think they look pretty. These are nice. And they are recycled 100%, still keeping in with their sustainability initiatives. Very robust agave forward aroma, floral, citrusy, black pepper is very prominent as well, so it's keeping a lot of those same characteristics as like the regular Blanco. Man, that's delightful. That's really good. In my opinion, it really showcases the best parts of what makes Mijenta special, turned up a notch. That higher proof really just makes those flavors shine a little bit more. It's a little bit more citrusy, a little bit of lime, a little bit of like zest to it. More of that the spice and black pepper. Less florality than like the regular Blanco, I should say, but still it is prominent, it is prevalent. But I think this is really incredible. And I just think that like from a conceptual standpoint and what they are trying to do from like a philosophical standpoint with this, I think is amazing, because there are problems to like monoculture farming. I'm not gonna get into that in this video. I am not even qualified to have that conversation. To be honest with you, I just poison people for a living, but look into it, it's fascinating. And last but not least, we have the Symphony Series number 2 from Mijenta. This is their first high-proof reposado tequila. And the really fascinating thing about this is that it was aged for about 8 months in what's called symphony barrels. And symphony barrels are pretty common in winemaking, but they're basically barrels made out of wood from different regions. So rather than, for example, in the Añejo, where they took tequila aged in 4 different barrels and blended them together, the blending is kind of happening with the wood of the barrel itself, kind of making a mixture of flavors through the wood by, you know, having different parts of the barrel come from different kinds of trees and wood like that. But the other part of it is that they took their higher proof, so this is 45% ABV, not 50, kind of like this one, and aged it in these symphony barrels. And again, it's got that nice recycled topper. And this is actually their newest release. This was released in March, so it's their newest expression. Before we even get to tasting it, I just want to compare the color of these side by side. The regular Repo is much darker than the Symphony is. I'm assuming that has to do with the wood, what the wood was that they used to age these different ones, but it's still got a nice color to it. Oh, that's delightful. I find that it's a little bit different than the regular Reposado because I'm getting prominent notes of like coconut, and there's still like some caramel, some vanilla. The citrus elements are there. The spice is still so prominent, but that like coconut flavor is hard to ignore. It's just like a beautiful, it's nice. And there's some baking spice as well. The higher proof makes the agave flavor be a little bit more punchy, a little bit more in your face. It's really nice on that. That is delightful. I don't know how many high proof repos I have seen in the market, but this has got to be one of my favorites. I have not seen it in many. That is very, very, very tasty. So what do I think? Do I think Mijenta is worth the hype? Well, let me, spoiler alert, absolutely. I think that I love what they're doing. I think they have a very unique flavor profile. I think that they are really trying to push the bounds with their special releases in a way that no other tequila, other tequila brands are doing it, but they're doing it in their own vibe and their own style. I love what they're doing with the Master Selection. I think that's very special. And I get this one's for the nerds, and I get that, but it's a really great product in and of itself. But their regular expressions, perfect for cocktails. Their Blanco at about 45 bucks. Like, if you're doing an event, that is a perfect Blanco to use. It's got so much flavor. It's so robust. It's so incredible. It's a really great option. I think their Añejo, if that's your jam, is a really good one. It is a little bit pricier, but I think it's worth it. It's really tasty. It's very rich. It's very complex. Overall, I really do think they are worth the hype, and I really love what they're doing, man. I think that being a B Corp and so sustainably focused is really important, and just making a great product is important as well, but standing up for something is even more important. So, yeah. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, why don't you watch this video right here next? I don't know what it is. I'm gonna put a random one. How about that? Cheers. Catch you guys in the next one.